Okay, part 2, just that quick. I would have thought that I'd be able to just pull off some. Oh gosh, you can. Look, it's so tough. If I was doing a mouse or something, I imagine it would be a lot more fragile, because if you look at a like a rabbit pelt, it just feels so thin and fragile. But it's coming off rather easily. Just gonna give it a little score.
What you want? Get your back. Get back.
When you have strange hobbies and you don't want to have to explain yourself, just zip it. Now we have the dog running around out here when I'm trying to perform this squirrel procedure here. And she's crazy about squirrels. This is my squirrel, Daisy, get your own. She's just mad because she can't catch one. It's getting so cold out here. I really wish I would have had an opportunity earlier in the day to do this. A lot of people say they have problems with something called slippage, and that means that the hair is coming off. I haven't had any problem with that so far. Getting a little bit more difficult as I get around the leg. It's hard to discern between the membrane and the actual hide. Oh, there we go. That's working out better. If I do more videos like this in the future, I'm definitely going to have to get a tripod or something. I'm doing this on a phone. Like I said, got like a little vein here. My technology prowess is not that great. I'm more of a hands-on person, clearly. I hope I'm not going to lose the light here. I'm going to have to go get a lamp or something. I can't take this in the house. Got a little bit of the flesh sticking to the hide here. We don't want that. Pull it a little. When you pull it, it doesn't seem like it comes off as cleanly. Just gotta drag the knife lightly along the surface of the membrane, and it does separate pretty well. Getting around these little legs. That's where it gets more difficult. And all the videos say that you don't want to poke a hole because holes are difficult to repair in the pelt. A lot of people think that when you do taxidermy, it has the whole animal. Evidently, in older times, they used to use the skeleton as an armature for the mounting process, but today most people use pre-made polystyrene molds. I think that's what it is. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. Some sort of styrofoam or whatever. I have floral blocks I'm going to be using. We'll see how well that works out. Evidently, it just has to be some sort of a rigid structure that is formable. A lot of people use something like looks like a kind of hay and string to make kind of a peanut shaped like the animal. There's a bit of artistry involved. It helps if you grab and pull them apart a bit while you're scoring. Dog's having a panic attack over there. That's so terrible. I was thinking this is like trying to change a baby without taking his pants off. Because you got this thing here and then you're trying to work with back here. It's a terrible comparison. Little foot. You can see he's still pliable. Still fresh. I don't know the particulars of how long it takes for these guys to stiffen up. Evidently, there's a longer window than I thought. I thought the smaller an animal, the faster rigor sets up. But maybe the draining of the blood helps the process. I don't know science. Looks like we've got all the way around the leg here. What we're going to do is, once I get his little pants leg slipped off here, we're going to get down as far as possible. She's barking at an actual squirrel in a tree who's probably horrified at what he's witnessing right now. Once we get down as close as possible to the toes, I'm going to actually use these and cut the bone and leave the toe bones inside. I don't think I'm going to have time to do the mounting today. I'm going to have to look up some information on how to store this guy until I can actually have time to put him on the armature, and I don't know if I'm going to video that entire process because obviously this process has taken a very long time since I've only gotten to one little leg. I don't know if I'm going to put it up in real time or if I'm going to edit it. Probably going to edit it just to save you guys a little bit of drag and lag with all this. Whatever. You guys can't see anything, can you? It's just me talking, looking at half of my face here. See here? Need to pay more attention to what you can see. We're getting down here almost to the ankle bone, and as you can see, we're through. This is his leg. Looks a little bit like a frog's leg. On the inside, you got white. And I've done quite a good job, actually, because there's not much of this meat sticking to here. And if you've worked with chicken, I know I keep saying that and it's disgusting, but you know how sometimes the skin and the flesh stick together, and that's kind of a mark of the chicken not being very fresh. Well, like I said, this guy's pretty fresh, so I guess time makes all the difference. Try not to get too existential with this whole thing because it can get depressing, and we all know how depressing I can be at times. Had enough of that yesterday for no freaking reason at all. Let's see here. I just don't know how far down I'm going to be able to go. Considering other videos I've watched, it should be quite a ways. I really don't want to tear it at all. Most of the tutorials I've watched said that borax will be sufficient for this process. If you're using a larger animal, you might want to use something like formaldehyde in the paws, or actually get all the way down to the toes, which I know has to be a terrible headache without ripping anything. I'm just so scared I'm gonna mess it up. Look! I made a hole! Forgive me, squirrel. Okay. Okay, here. We're gonna have to get into a little bit deeper cutting because of how thin the skin is here. It's thinner than around the body. I'm right down to the bone, actually. I'm so upset about this. Hopefully it won't be too noticeable. Okay, so if you decide to do this, once you get right down to the ankle bone on the squirrel, you want to pretty much stay at the bone with where you're cutting in order to avoid this. First hole I've cut in this thing. They say smaller animals are more difficult, and this is probably the reason. The ankle bone's quite difficult to get over. If this is this hard, I really hate to see how hard it's going to be to do the face. And then by the time I get to the face, it's going to be dark. I really don't want to stop this in the middle. It's getting so cold out here. I'm getting over the ankle bone. See there, that's the joint. Upward strokes seem to work better than downward. See, like this. I'm so upset about this hole. I'm gonna have to stitch it up. A good tip is to cut towards the flesh and not towards the pelt, which is the mistake that I made because I'm a big dummy and don't know how to follow instructions. This is taking so long. Clearly the videos I watched were edited all to crap. You want to remove as much of the flesh as possible, all the way down to the toes, because you don't want any smell, obviously. And if you have some meat just sitting out, you know what happens, which is what we're all made of, meat. Gross. He's got quite a long foot. I really thought this was going to be more upsetting, but it's not any more gross than most types of food preparation, and actually a lot of people do eat squirrels. Sorry, I've been so intent on trying to get this little foot off, I haven't been talking. So strange sitting here talking basically to yourself while you're trying to make a video. Come on, little toes. I don't want to pull it too much. It's making that hole bigger. See how the fur's come in and poking back through? Got pretty close. And a couple of other places too. I don't care for that too much. See how gross this looks. Ew. I really want to get all the way down to the toes as far as I can. And there's not much meat as a barrier at this point. You're right next to the tendon and the bone. I don't know how well you can see that. Come on, work with me here. Try not to just be a quitter and go ahead and cut this dude's toes off right now. Oh, I'm right here at the toes. I'm feeling like a little joint here. What a great time to leave my jacket at work, huh? Yes, I only have one jacket. So prepared. Yeah, I think maybe the time to cut is coming up. Because I'm not getting very much farther down this foot. So, right. I don't know what kind of sound this is going to make. You guys bear with me. Yeah, that was horrible. Got some toe bones there. We did get right down and it separated at the toe bones, if you see here. These are the little toe bones. See? And we do have a good bit of flesh in here that I'm going to try to scrape out. So it's like a sock. That's little. And I keep saying his, but evidently it's a female. Sorry, little squirrel. So we're going to continue on around the belly. And then we have 3 freaking more feet to do. Considering how long it's taken to get to this one, there's definitely going to be some editing involved. 24 more minutes. Wow. I don't know what's going to happen when you get to the naughty bits down here. Could be something bad. When you die, a lot of things happen. I like this body part. It's just so much easier than doing those little feet. It really helps if you apply pressure and separate as you go along, because all you have to do is just lightly drag along. You don't even have to apply any pressure. Just lightly score along as you're separating. See if we can pick up the pace a little bit. Then being a little bit overly cautious when it comes to the body portion. It's not nearly as difficult as the feet. We'll stop again.